Shifting focus to the news-making comments that came in overnight, the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has affirmed that more interest rate hikes are likely in the months to come, as tackling inflation still tops Fed's priorities. Noting that inflation has cooled but remains well above the Fed's 2% target, Powell said the central bank still has more work to do.
The Fed remain squarely focused on our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. My colleagues and I understand the hardship that high inflation is causing, and we remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal. There are some signs that supply and demand in the labor market are coming into better balance. The labor force participation rate has moved up in recent months, particularly for individuals aged 25 to 54. Nearly all FOMC participants expect that it will be appropriate to raise interest rates somewhat further by the end of the year. But at last week's meeting, considering how far and how fast we've moved, we judged it prudent to hold the target range steady to allow the committee to assess additional information and its implications for monetary policy. In determining the extent of additional policy firming that may be appropriate to return inflation to 2% over time, we will take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy, the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activity, inflation, and inflation, economic and financial developments.
Let's move on and talk about Uber, because the global ride-sharing giant Uber has actually announced its decision to slash 200 jobs within its recruitment division. This comes as a part of its ongoing efforts to maintain steady headcount and streamlining its costs as well. Remember, these reductions represent less than 1% of Uber's vast global workforce, which currently stands at 32,700 employees. Also, Move follows a previous layoff of 150 employees within the company's freight service division earlier this year.
And tech giant Intel has agreed to sell 20% of its stake in IMS nanofabrication to PE firm Bain Capital. And this deal is valued at $4.3 billion. Intel reiterated that Bain Capital's investment in IMS will ensure a significant market share for its tools that are being widely adopted by chip makers.
Let's move on and talk about what is happening over Amazon. Now, a U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, has filed a suit against Amazon, charging the retailer with enrolling millions of consumers into its paid subscription Amazon Prime services without their consent. Now, the FTC has been investigating the sign-up and cancellation processes for a Prime program since March 2021. Amazon shares fell as much as 1% overnight trade in the U.S. market.